This is the collet chuck I've managed to get a hold of. He's running pretty true actually, but I put in one of the collets for this one, which is an MC multi-bore collet. They're sprung-loaded blades that the one I put some metal in, some decent round metal, clamped it up, and I'd run out about tenth of a mil run out, and what I believe it was, they go in there like that and get compressed in by the front plate. So either it's the wrong collets, or simply because of the amount of use they've had in the past, and this one's a pretty good condition one, but most of them, the blades are slightly sticky, so I think they need, the first thing I need to do is actually overhaul them, clean them up, maybe give them some protection from any rusting. So that's what I intend to do. As you can see, I've already taken one apart, and this one was in fact a couple of, I call them blades, jaws, whatever, but a couple of them were actually sticking a bit, and what I think it is a build-up. I don't know if you can actually see this, but it's like I think it's build up with the coolant fluid over the years. It's kind of congealed. It's almost like a coating of kind of varnish like substance. I don't know if I can show you what I mean. So what I want to do, and although there's quite a gap, there is quite a gap here with the, if I can turn this light around, there is quite a gap here, but you see it in places it's quite a gap. It's quite a gap there's quite a gap there. Yeah, the other end, in places, he just rubs a bit, and I'm wondering if it's a build-up. It needs thoroughly kind of a degreaser or something, engine degreaser. I'll zoom out a bit. The engine degreaser I'm thinking of is probably the best bet. Thoroughly clean this up with perhaps a brass wire brush or something, and then we'll rebuild them, but protect them with, I've never ever used this stuff in my life before, WD-40, but I've got hold of some, so I'm actually going to attempt. I understand it's quite a bit of kerosene, some PTFE. Well, I believe the idea, the kerosene eventually disperses and leaves a PTFE behind, which is kind of a barrier for the water to stop any further water getting into the metal to create the rust. So how effective it is, I have no idea, but that's what I'm going to try anyway. So I've got almost a full set of these. I've got about 10. I think there's 11 or 12 in the full set. Now they come apart quite easily actually. If I start here, there's a row of a circle of screws, like so. What the screws go down through the centre of the coil of the spring. And these springs are just staggered each side. They're not under tension as such, not when in the release state as it is at the moment. So you can quite happily unscrew all these screws, which I'm going to attempt to do as fast as I can. The thing is, if you lose these springs, then you're not going to replace them in there very easily, other than buying another chuck, collet chuck. So must have be fairly careful how you actually, if I put that there and zoom in a bit more, this is how they come apart. Once you've got one out, it's quite easy to do the rest. Here we go, that's one. Actually, that's right, okay. That's how you take them apart. Once you move it to one side, just place them. So yeah, push it to one side, and jumps out, come back again. Likewise, push it to one side, and comes back again. Here, they all start going apart. Yeah. Push it to one side, like so, pulls out, release the spring, push it to one side. There we go. There's the actual housing, it's a pretty complicated bit of machining actually, as you can see. So, I should imagine very easy to distort as well, but that's pretty clean. It's not, I can't see any rust there. It's like the deposit here, a bit of greenery from the machining copper under press. The blades on this one, I think are particularly good. So just needs a good soak in. Okay, I found an old gash tray from somewhere. I'm going to put some engine degreaser in there, and I'm going to actually use that to dunk this stuff in. I'm just looking at the brass brush. I'll try scraping with the sharp edge of a blade. This is actually working. I think it will benefit from a good soak actually, but it's not that hard. It's not like burnt on, so it will come off without too much bother. Yeah, just needs a good soaking and see where we go with this. I've thoroughly cleaned these things in engine degreasant, washed them off in water, and then heated them so every trace of water has been evaporated off. And we have a reasonably clean, in fact it's quite clean, all the gummy stuff has been removed. I've stripped down to it one time, simply I want to find out whether any parts are interchangeable. Well, the springs are interchangeable, the screws are interchangeable, that's where it stops. These will fit either way around, but they only apply to one because the bore of the body is also sized accordingly, so as you can see, the bore of that one and the bore of that one, although the outer dimensions and the fitting dimensions are all the same, but only that bore will fit that one. That one's too large, and obviously the same with this one. The blades themselves are ground. There's no damage, no obvious damage, impact damage or anything on these. So it's time to do a trial assembly using WD-40. It's something I've never used before. I don't even know what the consistency is. So I'm just about to try for the first time ever. I'm hoping to try for the first time ever. Oh, here we go. There's a kind of an oily smell is not recognisable at all. So let's just lay these out and give them a squirt. Alright, so now we're going to attempt an assembly now. For that I want to use, let's say, it'll be the thinner blades for the larger opening. I'm going to pop that in like so. Put in a spring. Like so. Let me put in the next one. The spring can slide from side to side within a certain slightly fiddly until we find a simple assembly method. What we don't want to do is let this fly out and lose the spring, because they're irreplaceable. I'm beginning to wonder actually if I could simply do that. Put them in there. Right, I'm going to stop the camera a minute, because I don't know if the springs are supposed to go in that way, or that way. I'm just going to stop the camera for a moment and check the others. Well, this is one that I haven't taken apart yet. You can see that the spring is comes off the circle at the outer side, so in that fashion. Okay. Well, I seem to have found out a peculiar way of doing this. I'll try it. It worked once, so I'm going to try it for a second time. Right, we got the spring. We place it in the hole. We temporarily put the screw down through so we don't lose it. Try that again, like so. Screw through. Try it again. Screw through just to hold the spring in place. Blade, put it in this way, get the right hole. No, it goes that way. Make sure it's in the right hole, which is that one. We take this round a 180-degree turn, which brings this up there, but we need that spring in place. So what we do